The Autognome is one of my favorite races to come from Spelljammer, so in this video I'm dropping a build using the new race to turn you into a mounted warrior, mixing might and magic in a small package. Equipped with magical gadgets and a mechanized steed at your side, you will become a mini Mecha Knight. Hey everyone, welcome to Dungeoneers Pack. This is Josh and thank you for joining me. Before jumping into the build, here are some things to keep in mind. I'm going to focus on levels 1 to 10 as most campaigns are played in this level range, and builds on this channel are built with a focus on the concept but also will be viable for combat and roleplay. There are 3 goals for this build. We will be able to handle anything that comes our way in combat, but we may not be the best at doing that task. No matter if it's range or melee, we have an option to use. As previously mentioned, this is a Gish build. We will have access to magic to provide some utility and control while also being able to swing a weapon. The last goal is that we'll be mounted on top of a companion. We will be commanding our companion, casting spells, and swinging our weapons without the need to stand on our own little feet. Moving on to our ability scores, to make it easier to visualize for you, I will be using standard array, but feel free to use whatever method you use to generate your ability scores. Prioritize intelligence to support our spellcasting, our melee attack and damage rolls, and our class and subclass features. This character uses their mind to weave magic through gadgets to empower their martial prowess. Follow that up with constitution for a healthy amount of hit points so that we can get up close and take a few hits. Then choose dexterity for our initiative and armor class. Just because we're decked out in armor doesn't mean we aren't quick to act. Next is wisdom to provide a small boost to our perceptiveness. This character is slightly more aware than other folks and keeps an eye out for danger so they can mount up and ride into action. Followed by charisma and strength as our dump stat. As already mentioned, for this build's race, I'm going with the Autognome to take advantage of its size and stick with this theme of being a miniature mech warrior. We are considered a construct, which adds to our defensiveness. It protects us from some spells that would normally hit humanoids, but it does open us up to some others that target monsters and constructs. Our small size is integral for this build as it will allow us to mount to a medium-sized creature, which I will get into in the level-by-level breakdown. Armor casing gives us a natural armor, but this won't matter as we will be getting other defensive bonuses that will dwarf this. Build for success will give us some extra reliability, letting us add a d4 to our attack rolls, ability checks, or saving throws. Healing Machine will let us heal from a mending spell, using our hit die to do so, and we will also be affected by a select list of healing spells. Mechanical nature adds that robot flavor, giving us resistance to poison damage, being immune to disease, and we have advantage against being paralyzed or poisoned. In addition, we don't need to eat, drink, sleep, or breathe. Sentry's Rest adds on to this as we will only need 6 hours of downtime to get a long rest, but just like the Warforged, we are always aware during this downtime. The last trait is Specialized Design, which grants us 2 tool proficiencies of our choice. I went with Cartographer's Tools to help with mapping out dungeons, and Painter Supplies to become one of those AI art generators. For the background, to hit the thematic and fantasy of the knight, the only suitable option would be the knight variant of the noble background. This informs this character's sense of duty and military training. They have the need to uphold the ideals instilled in them. This character could be from a world where the Autognomes have gained independence and have established their own kingdom, or they could have been created by a defender for a wizard or artificer that has gone missing. As a knight, we have proficiency with the history and persuasion skills, a gaming set, and with the language of our choice, and I went with Draconic simply because why wouldn't a knight not know the language of their favorite enemy? Getting into the level by level breakdown, starting at level 1, for the class I'm going with Artificer as it provides the magical gadgeteer angle our Mecha Knight needs. Along with the usual class proficiencies, we have the option to choose 2 skills and a tool set to be proficient with. I went with Arcana, Perception, and Calligrapher's Tools. Arcana is our understanding of magical properties and how to best utilize them. Perception showcases this character's vigilance. They are always on the lookout for danger that comes the party's way. Calligrapher's Tools is a way to show that this character has more to offer than just being a warrior. With Magical Tinkering, we can create tiny devices that provide cantrip level illusory effects. From the get-go, we can start casting spells, and here are my recommendations. For cantrips, I suggest all utility spells as our weapons of choice will allow us to be flexible in combat. Guidance to be a supportive teammate to help them overcome skill challenges. Mending to heal our mechanical steed or ourselves. A message to communicate with a teammate over distances. And for first level spells, Absorb Elements acts as an arcane shield we activate to protect ourselves and charge up our weapon. Cure Wounds to help keep our allies in the fight. Detect Magic and Identify to help with discovering magic items. Fairy Fire and Grease as solid debuff spells to toss at a group of enemies. With level 2, we can create magic items or enchant our equipment with the Infuse item feature. For our infusions, the goal is to buff ourselves to act as a miniature tank, enhance weapon to boost our damage, enhance defense and repulsion shield to boost our armor class, and bag of holding to be the reliable tool to hold all of our gear. At level 3, we pick up the right tool for the job feature and our subclass. Right tool for the job will allow us to cobble together any artisan's tool we need. To play into the idea of being a knight, we need a trusty steed, and I went with the Battle Smith subclass as the Steel Defender gives us a built-in companion that we can ride since it's medium sized and we're small. The Autognome mounting their mech is like a scene straight out of Power Rangers. The Zords are combining. Our mechanical steed adds to our defensive capabilities as their reaction could cause disadvantage against a melee attack targeting us or an ally. Along with the Steel Defender, we are proficient with Smith's tools, pick up more melee-oriented spells from our subclass's expanded spell list, and gain proficiency with martial weapons, and are able to use intelligence for our attack and damage with the Battle Ready feature. Battle Ready pulls this build together since we'll be mounted making use of a lance, and a spear will allow us to handle enemies at a distance. Next, at level 4, we have the option between an ability score increase or a feat, and I went with a feat choosing Fighting Initiate to pick up the Dueling Fighting style. Dueling will will provide an extra 2 damage to our melee attacks since we will be wielding a lance or a spear in one hand and a shield in the other. The spear wins big with this as it helps boost the average damage whether we are using it for melee attacks or tossing it at our enemies. For level 5 we can now make 2 attacks per turn with extra attack, and we can cast second level spells, and here are my recommendations. Enhance ability, enlarge reduce, and invisibility as supportive spells to buff ourselves or our allies. With level 6 we pick up the tool expertise feature, which will allow us to double our proficiency bonus when using a tool, and we can choose 2 more infusions, and one with Helm of Awareness and Returning Weapon. Helm of Awareness gives our character their knight helmet that just so happens to give us advantage on our initiative rolls. Returning Weapons to place on our spear so that if we have to attack from range, we can chuck it at our enemies like we are Sir Arthur from Ghouls and Goblins. When we hit level 7 we gain Flashy Genius to help ourselves or our allies overcome skill challenges and saving throws. At level 8 we have the option between an ability score increase for our feat, and I went with the ability score increase to boost our intelligence. This will boost our core skills, our damage output, and spell casting abilities. Hitting level 9, our own or our mechanized mounts attacks get a smite-like effect with Arcane Jolt. We can also boost our healing output with Arcane Jolt as well. And we can also start casting 3rd level spells, and here are my recommendations. Dispel Magic as our measure to shut down nasty spell effects, and Fly to turn our steed into a flying mount. And finally for level 10, we can attune up to 4 magic items with a magic item added feature and can choose 2 more infusion options. I chose Spell Refueling Ring to help us recover a spell slot when we need it, and Cloak of Protection to give our knight their very own cape that also grants +1 to our armor class and saving throws. Now on to the pros and cons. For our pros, we have a lot of tool proficiencies. Even if we don't have proficiency in a specific tool, right tool for the job solves that problem altogether. To get the most use out of our tools, work with your DM and think creatively. This character is all about defense. Our Steel Defender can protect us from any single attack, our infusions will buff our armor class, and we have access to the shield spell. Despite our size, we are tough to hit. Now on to the cons. That high defense comes at a cost. Even with the dueling fighting style and the weapon infusions to boost our damage, we aren't a damage dealing juggernaut. We can get our hits in, and Arcane Jolt does a solid job of acting like a mini smite, but don't expect to be doing incredible amounts of damage. The lance is great at attacking creatures at a distance with its reach property, but it becomes a problem and causes disadvantage to our attacks when we aren't mounted. Keep this in mind if you get into a situation where you're not mounted or your Steel Defender has been taken out. And with that said, I want to hear from you. How would you build an Autognome character? Let me know down in the comment section. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a like, and if you want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button. Alright, I'm out of here. Have a good one.